everybody. Let me use this AC first. I don't have microphone, but I'm assuming that you can hear me loud and clear because this phone I'm filming with has inbuilt microphone. Anyway, this video is an impromptu one. I didn't know I was gonna film this video until I watched a video today by Aunty Shola of DN Vlogs Live. Yeah, I don't know, this camera might be shaking because the car is on. Why is it vibrating my camera? Hold on. I couldn't do anything to stop the vibration, but I hope it's not vibrating actually, because as I'm looking at my phone, it's doing okay. So I said that this video was inspired by Aunty Shola of DM Vlogs Live. So I was watching a video where she was talking, she was being very vulnerable in that video, and I will not lie, she made me tear up in the video. There are some things she said about her girls, because if you follow Aunty Shola, you know she has two daughters, Eniola and Tolani. So they've grown. Eniola is going to college and Eniola drives. Eniola has been driving since how many, like a year plus now, right Aunty Shola? Anyway, so I went there and then I watched the video and she was being very vulnerable, talking about how she gets really worried about her girls, especially Eniola going off to college and she's not gonna be there with her. She actually cried a little bit in the video, and that's when I teared up. And I could relate so much to that video. And like I commented in the comment section of the video, I said that I could relate because I'm a huge worrywart. My family, they know me. I'm a very huge worrywart, especially when it comes to my children. I can worry about them. And I could relate so much because that same fear that she's having are the same fears that I am having. My kids, none of them has entered college yet. My first child, as a matter of fact, is graduating from middle school. He's going to high school in September, and I'm already worried about how he's gonna cope. He's not boarding school though, but I'm already worried about how he's going to cope being in a new environment all by himself. His siblings are not gonna be there. I will be dropping him off in the morning and picking him up in the afternoon, but I'm worried about how he's going to mix up with strangers, people he doesn't know. Yeah, I worry about such things. So Aunty Shola was talking about how how Eniola drives and she doesn't want to think so much about it, about other crazy drivers on the road, that she's not worried about her child in particular, about her child's driving, but she's worried about other crazy drivers, because believe me, drivers are crazy in this country, especially drunk drivers, especially those that text and drive. It's only God. It's only God that can save us, and that's what I also commented. I told her that I'm trying not to worry so much anymore. What I do now is to hand the children over to God, because after all, He's their father. He's their main father. I'm just a guardian. What can I even do? I can't even do anything in the face of danger, in the face of trouble. So I just hand those children over to God. They are in the palms of His hands. So that's the only way I cope with it, so that I don't worry too much. Like when they are at school, Zite will be in her preschool, Nano in her elementary school, Dindo and Monachi in their middle school, and then I'll be at home with Boo Boo worrying about them, that hey, I wonder what's going on. No, we hope they won't bully them. Hope they will not fall down during recess or during PE. Because I even read a story. It's even my son that showed me the story about how a student in middle school, a student in high school, the high school he's actually going to, a student died from an accident during PE. So I think of these things and I'm like, instead of worrying so much about these things, just hand them over to God. That's what I told Aunty Shola, and I'm a work in progress in that regard. I'm just handing them over to God, that God should take control. Just before I saw that video by Aunty Shola, I just left Instagram and I saw a post on Instagram where they wrote and said that you think you're not sleeping now that your child is a toddler. Wait till your child starts driving. And I'm like, that's another fear unlocked. You're thinking of how your child is driving on the freeway in this country. You're thinking rishi things. You're thinking about your child that is going to live in school and you're not going to be there with your child. My sister's son, her first son is going to school, he's going to college, so he's gonna live there. And I'm thinking, how is he going to stay? How? Because he has never been away from home for long periods of time like that. How is he gonna cope? But then they're going to cope. And it makes me wonder, when I was in university, I grew up in Lagos. My parents, we live in Lagos. My family lives in Lagos. And then I went to college, university in Oka, my hometown, Anambra State. And back then, my first year, we didn't have, as at my first year in the university, there were no GSM phones. First year and second year, as a matter of fact. So we're depending on landlines. People that have landlines in their home, we go there and answer calls and all. But before I found somebody before I found a family that had a landline for me to go and be receiving calls there, I used to wonder, how were my parents, especially my mom, coping back then? And we go back to school, you won't be able to call your parents like we can do now with our cell phones to tell them that I've reached, or maybe when you're on your way, we are now at Oreo, or we are now at Delta State, so Asaba, or we are now at Oka, we are now crossing the Niger Bridge. Back then, no communication. I don't even know, thinking about it now, I don't even know how they used to know that we have reached our destination. And then they were coping, and we were living our own independent lives in school, not even caring about if our parents were worrying. But now that I am a mom, I can now relate to my mom and the kind of thoughts that she was having back then. And after several, I will ask her, but I think that how she too was coping was by handing us over to God, because she knew that we were in God's hands. And that is what I'm doing now. Aunty Shola, that's what you should do too. Just hand in your land, Tolani, over to God. Because he loves them more than you do. You know, ba? He loves them more than you do. He is the only one that can take care of them. In my family, we don't play with Psalm 91. Away from Psalm 91, I know how to read it in Igbo from my head. I know how to read it in English from my head. We don't play with it. But it's not just about reciting or chanting psalm. We pray as well. I just know that God loves me too much to let anything happen to my children. Like I always say, we live in this country where it's very dangerous to even go to elementary school, even daycare. I've read of school shooter at daycare and all. But I do not have, I finally overcame that fear of school shooters, because I told God that as long as my children are in this school or that school shooter cannot come near that school. So if your children are in the same school with my children, just be rest assured that school shooter cannot come near their school. Yeah, because God can never let that happen. That's what I believe. Not to say that those that school shooters went to their school that they don't know God or whatever. I'm talking about my own personal relationship and my own personal walk with God and my own personal belief in God. He can never let that happen to my children or wherever they are. You get? So I just pray and hand everything over to God, that God should take control of their relationships with people, with other children, that God should not let them succumb to bad influence, because peer pressure and bad influence is another thing to worry about in this country. Well, not just in America though, even in Nigeria. Peer pressure and bad influence is a big issue. It's a big problem. So I hand over their relationships to God, that God should not let them come across anybody that will lead them astray. I pray about their prayer life, their spiritual life, that God should let them grow spiritually, that God should let them have a craving for Him, that let them love the Lord with all their hearts and only want to serve Him and do His will, so that nothing will take them away from God, so that their body, their heart, their mind, their soul will reject anything evil. You know, I pray about these things now. Ever since I started praying so hard about these things, my heart is now at rest. You understand? So I think that's the only way to handle this fear that we have about our children. As long as you are a parent, that you have children, the worrying never stops. It never stops. Even as I am praying the prayer, worry still manages to sneak into my heart somehow, but I now have my way of fighting those fears and worry. Even my parents, my parents, they know me that I'm this kind of mother hen. I guard my children so much. I'm very overprotective of them. In Igbo, they say that no, like dog. You know how dog used to carry their children in their mouths. That's how I used to do with my children, to the point that back in Nigeria, school excursion, field trip, my children never used to go. When I hear that they're going for school excursion, they rather stay at home with me. I'll be looking at them and be doing head counts every now and then. I'll do head counts to make sure that they're complete. I never used to do that, but now I've started allowing them go for field trip. The other day, my second daughter went for field trip, and I told my mom that Nanu went for field trip. She said, you mean it? She went for a field trip? You that don't used to allow your children go for field trip in Nigeria? And in my mind, I'm like, I've grown. I've grown. I'm now allowing, because God will protect them. His eyes will always be upon them. His presence will never depart from them. So why am I worrying when he even loves them more than me? Yeah? So I never knew I would come to this level. So I'm still a work in progress. Like I said, I'm still praying that God should make me have the is it courage? Is it courage that is the word? To let them do things, to let them, because they would leave my house eventually. They will grow, they will go to college. Even if they go to college from home, will they not marry again? They will marry, they'll leave my house. And do you know that there was a point where, when I think of the fact that my son will marry, or that my daughter will marry, it used to make me like I'll be having heart palpitation. Palpitation that, hey Jesus, who is gonna marry them? Which kind of person is gonna marry them? What kind of human being would that be? Like, whew, God have mercy. It's not easy. You see parenting is hard. It's like the scariest job ever. It's the toughest job ever. I don't even know how to begin to describe it. And if you're not wearing those shoes yet, you might not be able to completely relate until you have a child of your own. And I pray that you get to relate. All of you must have child. As long as you're watching this video, you must have a child of your own, children of your own, so that you will relate to what I'm talking about, so that you will experience it. Because apart from the fact that it's very scary, it's a very amazing job, though. It's very, very amazing. There are some moments that sneak up on you and fill your heart with so much warmth that your heart will want to explode in your chest. There's some things your child will do for you or do to you. Okay, see this particular, you know that is this one I used to wear before. My daughter now came back from school one day and gave me this one that they wrote, "You are beautiful, you are enough, you are awesome, you are worthy." She just said she won it for me. They did something and she won it for me. Mothers Day, they write me letters, they draw flowers, they make out time, put in their hearts in their write-up and all that. And when you read these things, it just makes your heart explode into millions of tiny pieces, you know. So there are moments like that, even though it's very scary, even though it's very hard, and even though they can be very annoying sometimes, but it comes with the job. Anyway, so the bottom line of this my long video that I did not plan to make in the first place was to let you know, if you're a mom like me and Aunty Shola that used to worry too much, there's nothing much you can do. Just hand those children over to their father in heaven. He's the one that knows how to take care of them. His eyes are always watching them. Okay, do you know, towards the end of that video, I saw where Aunty Shola, I don't know, Aunty Shola, because teach me how you did that thing on her Google Maps. Like she was tracking, I saw like Eniola was driving. I could see her location. It was just moving. The location, wherever she was going, the thing was just moving. And as I was looking at the thing, I just had a revelation that this is how God constantly watches over us everywhere we go. Aunty Shola could watch Eniola, track her movements, see where she was at every point in time, even know the speed limit, what they call it, how many miles per hour she was driving. She could see it. She could see it moving. So, and I was like, my goodness, this is how God watches over us. This is how God sees us everywhere we are. That's why I'm also very rest assured that that's how God is watching over our children wherever they are. So if your children are in college, stop worrying. They are fine. God is there with them. God will keep them safe. If your children are in middle school, high school, elementary school, daycare, God is watching over them. God is watching over them. As long as you do your due diligence by praying. By praying, it's not if you don't pray, you just be there. You don't pray, then, because actually bad things happen to, there are people that bad things happen to. There are people's children that bad things happen to. Maybe there's a video I saw, even though it's a story for another day, a post I saw on puberty, a child that they took to daycare, a baby. We saw scratches all over this baby's face. The school said it's a mistake. I thought it's only in Nigeria that type of thing used to happen. That one is story for another day. And I also saw another post today on Instagram. A mom that her child went to school and swallowed like 25 balloons. Did you see that post? The child was stooling and vomiting balloons, and the school exonerated themselves. That one, I'm gonna sit down and make a video about that particular post and call out that school, because as I'm even thinking about it now, I'm getting annoyed again. So let me not spoil this video that I have made. So my point is, yeah, there are people that bad things happen to their children at school, but I won't say they did not pray. All I'm just saying is, please pray. Just pray. Pray. God will protect our children. Okay? God will protect our children. All right, let's talk in the comment section. I hope you have subscribed to my channel. Subscribe to my channel if you have not. Please share my video if you have not. I've already hit 3K. Thank you so much for people that subscribed, that made me hit 3K. We pray to grow more and more, and I pray not to lose heart and give up on this YouTube, because I'm on the verge of giving up. But once in a while, I'll be coming and be sitting down and be talking. All right? All right. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay blessed. We're gonna see ourselves in the next video. Kill Zills.